Hi there, AJ here. So good to see you. Thank you very much for watching again. This is my third video for this channel. This channel that is made by coaches for coaches to really help you grow as a coach, not just being as a coaching professional, but more as a coaching business owner. Because being a coach and being a coaching business owner are two entirely different roles, and we tend to develop the first and neglect the second. I did that for years as an executive coach. I neglected the role as an entrepreneur, as a business owner for years. But after 7 years, when my wife said, would be nice if you could do a little better on the commercial side, I decided to really step up and find out a formula that works for executive coaches. So this channel is for executive coaches to help you grow. I hope you can help others to grow as well, because that's the purpose. Today we will do maybe the most important element of what I call the 7 Ps that I describe in my book. Really the base level of a coaching practice. And that's what we call position. Position is the base level of the whole pyramid. Everything stacks up this base level. And today we're going to define how to position, or in other words, what is your dream coaching client? How can you find him or her, and how can you describe it and make it easier for you to find them and to build your business around this person? Because this is the central issue of the whole mix of variables that you need to organize to have a healthy coaching business. So today we call this position, the first level of the pyramid. And I want to start with the story because that makes it clear why position is so important. I worked with an athlete about 5 years ago. He was a very talented athlete, and he called me and he said, AJ, I want to work with you. And I was honored that somebody calls me. I said, how do you find me? How did you find me? And he said, well, I heard your name from another colleague of mine, and she was very positive about you, so I wanted to work with you as well. So, well, let's come at my office and let's see what we can do for each other and see if this works out. So he came to me and I heard his story, and his story was pretty tragic. He was a very, very talented athlete. He was a world champion in his age group, in his sports, when he was about 17 years old, the world champion, the number one, undisputed, biggest talent of the world as a Dutchman, and everybody was really, really fond of him, proud of him, until the moment that he crashed in a training accident. And he was totally injured. He had to recuperate for years, and it took him physically almost 5 or 6 years, and mentally maybe even longer. Some other tragic things happened in his life, so his sport career seemed to be over. But after about 10 years, he decided, he was still young, at the end of his 20s, and he decided to try it another time. So he was serious, so he found a sponsor who wanted to sponsor him to get his career back on track, and he needed help there. So he called me and he said, I want to help from you as a mental coach, and I really see that I have challenges there, so why not work with me? So I said, okay, I can do that. I'm honored that you let me know and that you found me, but I don't do it for free, so I don't know if you can pay it. He said, well, I don't mind how much it costs. It's my sponsor who will pay for it, so you have to call him. So I said, sponsor? There might be another person involved, so I called him his sponsor, and his sponsor said, well, yeah, paying is a little difficult because the other people in the team don't get paid as well. So I said, other people in the team? Yeah, apparently there were other people in the team. And said, what do you expect from me in relation to these people? He said, well, yeah, of course you have to be present in our meetings, and of course we have a lot of communication among each other. So I said, okay, this is getting rather complicated, but I already said yes to the athlete, so I couldn't say no anymore. But apparently the whole thing got a little bit more complicated than I expected. Well, it turned out that also other people in the team got paid, and I was happy, so I stick to it. I said, I'll give you a big discount, but still I want to be paid a little bit to at least cover my expenses. So I entered the program with this athlete, and we started to work, but already pretty soon in the program, some communication errors, some relational difficulties started to appear in the team, and I was the person to best intervene in this. So I started to resolve problems into the team, and communication problems and relational problems. I started to kind of mediate there and intervene and help that solve, but that costed a lot of time, which was not intentionally part of the whole program that I had in mind. And apart from focusing on the client, I was really much focused on all the things that happened around it. And after a couple of months, make a long story short, the athlete said to me, yeah, I don't know this mental training, I don't know if that works for me. And I said, okay, I understand, because it was not really the mental training program that I had in mind, and I was really involved with a lot of other things that were important, but were not especially the thing that I was educated for. So I said, well, let's do a measurement. Let's see how much you progressed. And we can do that in various ways, as we will tell in the next chapter. One of the next chapters, what we call proof, is how we measure the progress of our clients. And I measured his progress, and there was no progress. It turned out that he got even worse versus the start of the program. So yes, he was right. We were not very successful, and this whole mental training thing was not really working out the way he wanted and we wanted as well. So I said, well, yes, maybe it costs a lot of time. I have to travel quite far to get to you. So maybe we should stop. So I said, oh yeah, we should stop. And I was kind of relieved, because it took me so much more time, it was so much more complicated, and I didn't make a lot of money out of it. So why? And last but certainly not least, the results were really disappointing. So I can say, let's stop, no problem. And so we stopped. And then afterwards, I really felt relieved, and I analyzed and reflected on the whole thing. And I decided, well, I got into a structure where I was really not the right qualified person and coach to do so. And I analyzed my portfolio, and I found out that I don't only work with athletes, but I also work with doctors, and I work with teachers, and I work with bankers, and I work with young people, I work with older people. I had a big scattered portfolio of all kinds of clients, which as a result had a lot of complexity in my business. Every client wanted something else. Some wanted me to come to them. Some people came to my office, and some people wanted to have me on the golf courses around Europe. I work with a lot of golf players as well. That took me a lot of time and made my business very complex, and made my business also very expensive to run. It was very inefficient, so it was very expensive to really treat all these different client groups. So I said to myself, okay, who are actually the clients that have the most benefit out of my coaching programs? And then I analyzed it, and then something I discovered was really, really interesting. The clients that had the best progress, and again, we measure a lot of the things, a lot of progress in our coaching programs, the ones who had the most progress, I spent the least amount of time with. And the clients who had the least progress, I spent significantly much more time with. And that was interesting. And then I analyzed a little further, and I realized that the clients that really had the most effect and that I worked the least with also had generated the most energy with me and really valued the coaching the most. And then I started to research a little bit on the internet, and I found out that already a lot of research had been done about what the drivers are of effective coaching. And one of the most important drivers is the quality of the coaching relationship and the actual match between the coach and the coachee, or the coaching client. So the quality of the relation to a significant part determines the outcome, the positive outcome. So at that time, I really decided to focus on I had two different clients, and that's what we call position. To what client do you position yourself to? Or in other words, what is the dream client you are preferably wanting to work with? And that's what I did, and since then my business really, really well developed. And this is something that I really highly recommend you to do so as well. That does not mean that you cannot work with anyone anymore who does not match that profile, but you can make so much more conscious decisions, and the efficiency in running your coaching business gets far more efficient, far more cheaper and easier and less complex. So that's the whole idea behind positioning. And positioning is in coaching a little different than in other businesses, as they teach you in marketing books. Because is it not like you choose a niche, but the niche already, if you are an experienced coach, is already chosen, only you do not fully recognize that and are conscious of it. You already have work with at least a handful of clients, or many more clients, who have a certain dimension, certain profile that is always kind of the same age group, the same gender, the same kind of hobbies. It's always the same type of clients that you really feel you can add value to, and it's fun working with. These are mostly the best characteristics, the ones who have the most value out of it, and the ones who you think and you experience the most fun of working with. So that's position. And today I want to help you make this profile. And we have made a template for you that is based on a colleague of mine who's called Digital Marketer, and they are really good at marketing, and they have a very simple template that they use to define this dream client. Again, you can define different client profiles. You can do 2 or 3 or 4. I have 2 of them. And that's enough for me. Some people might have 3. 1 might be a little too little, but let's do 1 for today, just as an example to see how this works, right? Okay. Well, for those who don't know me, I have not introduced myself. My name is Anne-Jan Willemsen. I help coaches grow. I do that since I have written my book, From Poor Coach to Rich Coach. And there I have decided to not only work with executive clients anymore, but also with coaches to see how I can help them grow their business. Because I struggled, to bring it short, I struggled for 8 years. And after that, I really found out a formula that works for executive coaches. And I hope that will work for you. And I'm confident that will work for you too. Right. So today, who is your dream client? That's the topic of today. And that's the part of what we call position. First, let me show you a little bit the framework that we used. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me see. Here, right. So the topic for today is position, and here we can. I will show you how this works. Let me help you so I can see you as well. How does it work? And then we do this one. Oh. Okay, sorry. Is this working? Yeah, you see me now. Huh? A lot of technical things, have to get used to it. It's my 3rd video, so you see there's a little bit bugs here and there, but we'll get there. So today we talk about position. You cannot see me anymore now, well, while you hear my voice. And I introduced in one of the first videos the model, the framework that we use, and that is the pyramid with the 7 levels. And these 7 levels consist of what we call the 7 P's, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's a sequence. You never start at the top, you start at the bottom. And the bottom is where we are today. That's what we call the P of position. What is your dream coaching client that you prefer to work with? What is the one that you really want to work with, preferably? What is the one you can add the most value, and the one you, I would say, have most fun working with? Let me see. I have to get it. I have to get this done. Right here it is. So this works better. So that's it, position. And then we have the next one is what we call package. And the other one is what we call price. Pricing, a very interesting one as well for coaches. Then we have one how we organize the business, what we call process. And then we have another one that we call proof. Already introduced that in the little example that I just told. And then we have pair. How do you build up the relationship throughout the whole lifetime? And the last one, but not the least, but it's the last in the sequence, is what we call promote. You cannot start with promotion, as you can imagine, before you know who are you going to promote your services to. So therefore, it always starts with position, the thing that we discussed today. All right, so I have a little template for you to use, and that's this one. And this is what I learned from a colleague of mine, and where I learned a lot from. It's called digital marketing. They're really good at digital marketing. If you really want to specialize in digital marketing, go to them. They are really the specialists. I'm only a specialist in how to build a coaching business. They are specialists to build up a whole digital online marketing firm, etc. So they have made this template, and it's very interesting. The first step here is the step of where we name the type of client. Okay, today we only do one, but you can do more templates if you have more dream clients. I've got 2, maybe now 3 dream clients. So you first write down the name so you can recognize who it is. It can be a he, it can be a she, but just to recognize in one title or name who it is. That's the step number 1. Yeah, step number 1. I call that, here it is. I thought, give your dream coaching client a name or a title. That's the first step of the whole template, right? Good. Then we go to the second one, and that is what we call demographics or interests. Here it is kind of a general description of the person you are going preferably to coach. There you say, okay, where does he or she live? What is her age? What are her hobbies? What is her professional status? What is their seniority in the business, or where he or she works? Only the things that are relevant. Don't overthink. Don't make it too complex here. Just the basic description of the person you preferably want to work with. Yeah. And that's the one you're already working with. So you don't have to find that person. You just have to think of all the people you've already coached in the past, and where you really see, okay, this was the one where I have the best match with. And then you start to describe him or her as your number 1 dream client. Don't overthink, don't make it too complex. It's not rocket science here, but it's really valuable because you will build up everything after this based on this dream client. Okay, this one I always skip, but this one is an interesting one. That's step number 3. What is his or her fears or frustrations? What are the reasons why they come to you and they want to have their fears or their problems solved? What are the typical problems that they come to you with? It can be work-life balance, can be less energy, it can be a career question, it can be the relational problems at home, it can be whatever. But for your specific dream client, there always is 1, 2, 3, or a few fears or frustrations that they come to you with to get resolved with the help of you. Yeah. Also here, don't overthink, don't make it too complex, but just analyze what you've already experienced in the past. What were the main problems, fears, and frustration that people came to you with? That's the thing. Then the other thing, that's the other side of the spectrum, that's where you want to move towards or what we call the wants and aspirations. On one side, people have fears, problems, challenges. On the other side, they have aspirations and needs, and that they want to have more of. So also here, describe, no academic text or copy, whatever to write here. What are the wants, the needs, and the aspirations of the people typically coming to you, right? It can be they want to be successful in their corporate careers, or they want to balance their professional and private life better, or they want to become healthier and run a marathon or whatever. Also here, typically your dream, perfect, ideal clients always have kind of the same, similar wants and needs, and you can describe it here. So that's for now. And you can do that again for 1, 2, 3 dream clients. I used to work with a male, corporate male, and also a female, and these type of people really I matched with really well. And when I started doing that, more and more of these types of people came into my business. I don't know why, but I think I attracted them because I was more consistently communicating towards these dream clients instead of just to the athletes and to the teachers and to the doctors and to the executives, but it was very uncomplicated. I started with these two people, a woman and a man, with a really kind of clear profile, and then I started to work out this with the rest of the variables that we'll talk about in the other weeks. So that's it for now. These are the things. If you want to have this template, let me know. I will send it to you. Just send me an email or leave a comment. That's best below this video, and we will pick it up and send you the template. We will redesign it a little bit. This is the one of digital marketing, and I will send you the one that I use most frequently for my own clients. Thank you for watching. I hope you really liked it. Let me know, give me a like, subscribe for the channel. We'll do this every week with a different topic, and I hope it is of value. Thank you very much for watching. For now, bye bye, AJ.